All right, so we all know that Destin, Florida is probably one of the most popular areas within the Emerald Coast, and many people do move to and then also take vacations to. In this video though, I'm going to be breaking into why we personally just felt like it wasn't for us and we did not end up moving there. Before I break into that though, let's go ahead and throw a few stats at you in regards to Destin. So Destin's population, depending on which site you're kind of pulling all the information from, is anywhere between 14 and 15,000 people. Now that's just the population. When we're talking about the tourism, just the first half of 2025, they have already seen 2.5 million tourists going into Destin. So you might look at that population and be like, I mean, not that many people live there, but when you have that many tourists who are visiting, it definitely is going to feel much more like a large town as compared to a smaller mid-sized town. If this is your first time watching, guys, my name is Pete Sweeney. I am a licensed realtor in the state of Florida, helping you, those of you who are pretty much choosing the Pensacola metro area, where we're talking Pensacola, Navarre, Gulf Breeze, Cantonment, all these different areas. I am the top person that you want to call if you are planning on relocating and purchasing a house here. You didn't come here for that though. Let's go ahead and break into the cost of living of Destin and a few other stats that I would like to go over. That way we can kind of throw the basics out in front of you, and then we'll tell you why personally for us, we did not choose to call Destin our home. First thing we're going to break into is going to be the cost of living. If this is your first time watching this channel, what we like to use is the cost of living index, where 100 is your national average. If it's above that, it's more expensive, and if it's below it, it's cheaper than your national average. When we are talking about Destin, encompassing all the different costs of living, whether they're talking about groceries, transportation, all the different things, your overall number comes in at a 122. So that means that overall, Destin is going to be 22% more expensive than the national average. Let's break that down a little bit further though into a few different categories. The first one that we're going to talk about is your utilities. Utilities comes in not as high as that overall number at a 103.4, so then that means that Destin is 3.4% more expensive than your national average when we are talking about utilities. The next one we are going to be talking about is your groceries, where groceries comes in at a 105.3. Again, that means that it is going to be 5.3% more expensive than your national average. And we see this often, even where we're at kind of in the Pensacola metro area. Once you kind of cross over from the mainland on one of those bridges, whether it be all the way down in Pensacola or whether we're talking about Destin, groceries do seem to be a little bit more expensive. I guarantee that if we pulled the stats for Niceville, which is just straight north of Destin, more on that mainland, groceries are going to be a little bit cheaper as compared to the heart of Destin. The next category is going to be transportation. What are we talking about when we talk about transportation? So we're talking about the cost for public transportation. We're talking about the cost of gas, of fuel. We're talking about the cost to repair your vehicles. All these kind of lumped into one number. Transportation actually comes in at a 112.6, 12.6% more expensive than your national average. This is something that I can see why it's raised so much higher than a few of the other surrounding cities. You have a lot of tourists who are kind of in there, so what are they going to do? They're going to hike up those gas prices. Say someone in road trip there and their car broke down, they're going to charge a little bit more. So I see those services being a little bit more expensive because they're trying to kind of get all those different tourists within the area. And we're going to be breaking into the housing prices because I think that's the biggest determining factor on why the cost of living index is so much higher up in Destin. But first, let's go ahead and talk about your health. So if we're talking about going to your doctor visits, going over to the dentist, anything like that, health actually isn't that bad. It isn't much more than your national average, coming in at a 102.3. Okay, so let's talk about that real estate though, because this is going to be the main reason why Destin is so expensive when we're talking about the cost of living index. If we talk about your overall median sales price, and these numbers are as of April of 2025, you're going to be looking at a median sales price of $561,000. But when we put all the numbers together, that number is actually down 13.69% comparing 2024 over into 2025. Now, again, this is our overall number. So we are talking about your single family and your attached products, your condos, townhouses, and row homes lumped into one number. Let's break it down even further. What are you looking at spending if we are talking about your median sales price on your single family homes? Single family, you got a median sales price of $725,000, but that number, unlike the overall number, is actually up year over year, 11.54%. So it's interesting to see that your single family is up where your overall is down. What do those attached numbers look like though? Attached median sales price as of April of 2025 is $468,000. and that number is down 30.22%. Now, here's something that we don't see, because many times we talk about Pensacola, pretty much comparing, Pensacola, Gulf Breeze, Navarre, all these different areas. When we're talking about those areas, guys, those attached products, the median sales price usually comes in higher than the single family houses, because you have all these luxury condos. So when I did see this number, it kind of surprised me a little bit, because I know that they do have some luxury attached products over in Destin, but the fact to see that your single family is a little bit higher than your attached is a little bit rare when we are talking about this area. Now, for comparison's sakes, when we are talking about your median sales price over in Pensacola, now we're talking the mainland of Pensacola, not Pensacola Beach. That median sales price on your single family is like in the high 200,000s. So you look at Destin, why it's so much more expensive on your single family homes as compared to somewhere like Pensacola. I wanted to cover one last thing before I broke into why we personally did not choose to move into Destin. And we're gonna be talking about the schools. The schools over in Destin are gonna be in Okaloosa County, where Okaloosa County, according to niche.com, is rated an A-. And if we're specifically talking about Destin, we've got Destin Elementary, which is rated an A-. We've got Destin Middle, which is rated an A-. And then if we talk about Destin High School, it is actually rated a B+. So not that bad of grades whatsoever. And Okaloosa County is actually rated, I think, the 7th best district within Florida, according to niche.com. Some great schools over there. When we do look at that, it's actually pretty cool. We like follow a few groups that are in Destin and stuff like that. And the high schoolers all graduated and they got in the ocean with all their celebration. And it's pretty cool having stuff like that. You will see that in the Emerald Coast from time to time, where maybe sometimes you're out on the beach and it's around homecoming or prom. They take advantage of the beach when we are talking about these schooling systems. It's pretty darn cool when you're kind of growing up in the area. All right, we've reached that part of the video where I'm going to be talking about why we chose not to move into Destin. Before I do so, though, guys, is if you are looking at relocating into the Emerald Coast, we're talking pretty much Pensacola all the way down into Destin. We are your top relocation experts. Like I said, a licensed realtor here in the state of Florida, helping you out with all your real estate needs. Give us a call or text at that phone number right below. Right there. We always answer. It doesn't matter day or time, but if you're not quite ready and you just want to educate yourself, kind of get in that discovery mode a little bit more about the Emerald Coast, why don't you do yourself a huge favor and smash that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, notification bell, that way you're notified every single time we put out a brand new video. Biggest reason why we didn't choose Destin was the fact that it does get so much tourism, and it might not be for the reasons that you thought. So Destin, when we are actually looking at the Florida Environmental Protection Agency, I think is what it was, is the stats where I got it. Destin pulls in 80% of the tourism, of all the tourism that goes into the Emerald Coast. That's where we get that 8.5 million tourists who have already visited Destin just in the first half of 2025. And I will tell you, because we do get a lot of tourists over in Pensacola Beach, because us personally, we chose Gulf Breeze. Yes, we get tourists, but in Destin, you get so many tourists that it's busy. But we were just more afraid of what our kids were kind of going to be exposed to. We left Colorado personally because of all the wokeness, all the crap that we did not want them to see. Growing up as kids, we wanted to establish a firm base. When you have that many tourists coming from all over the country, shoot, all over the world, you are probably going to be seeing a lot of the stuff that we are trying to move away from. Whereas, like, if you're in the heart of Destin, it's all right there. Now you could say, hey, you know what? I could move north. I could be up in Niceville. That way I will have that kind of buffer from the tourist zone. And that's why we chose Gulf Breeze. Gulf Breeze, we have that buffer from Pensacola Beach. So yes, we do have tourism over at Pensacola Beach, but say that we don't want to really kind of get too crazy or see a lot of craziness happening on the beach. Outside of us knowing our little spots that we like to go where the tourists don't know about, we can go down and pop down to Navarre Beach. Navarre Beach is a lot more tranquil, a lot more quiet when we are talking about the tourism. Now, yes, Navarre Beach does get tourism, but it's nothing like Destin, the craziness. And we kind of dread having to go down to Destin, whether it's talking about going to a lacrosse tournament, someone coming into town and hanging out there and wanting us to come up and visit them. We're like, man, Destin it's just so crazy there. And it seems like it's a party scene nonstop. For us personally and for our family, we did not want to expose our kids to all the stuff that comes with that party scene and all the tourism that is visiting Destin. Another thing that we really liked about the area that we chose as compared to Destin is we were looking for more of a traditional setting, a more kind of small town vibe where you don't get much of that over in Destin. You know, they have all the awesome things when we're talking about the amenities, Bass Pro Shops, all those great things that they have in Destin. We want something a little bit more traditional. We came from somewhere where literally Topgolf was like 5-minute drive away. Costco was right next to it right there. We had all these, I guess you could call them distractions, right? And we've noticed since we are more in this traditional setting where we don't have all these different things right at our fingertips that we can do, we have grown closer as a family, and that's something that we personally were really looking for after living in a large city for our entire lives. Another thing that we noticed too in this area, and we actually, because initially, if this is your first time watching, we're kind of looking more in the Tampa area, right? And so we bought a property just right outside of Clearwater. Currently we have it as an investment property, but it just trying to get that beach access was horrible. And something that we noticed the first time going to Pensacola Beach is how easy it was to just park and walk down to the beach. Now, high tourist season, of course, you're going to kind of run into some problems with traffic and such, but it's free parking over at Pensacola Beach. You don't have to worry about paying. And then also we have all these different spots that we could go to that not many people know about, and it's easy beach access. That is not the case over in Destin. It can seem like it's a little bit harder to visit the beach if you are planning on relocating and moving into the Emerald Coast and going to the beach often. I'm gonna throw one last thing in there too, and something that we did notice kind of in the Pensacola metro area as compared to like the Destin area is there's a huge military vibe over in the Pensacola metro area. Now, yes, Destin, you do have, you know, Eglin Air Force Base, Herbert Field, and all those stuff that are closer down near it, but it's just the military vibe that we get within Pensacola is amazing. The military history within Pensacola is amazing. Me, I am a veteran, and I enjoyed the fact that we are kind of surrounded by like-minded people, and I love that so much. We just really didn't see much of that down in Destin. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I greatly appreciate it. Like I said, I am a licensed realtor here in the state of Florida, helping out so many of you who are relocating into the area and purchase your next home. So give us a call or text at that phone number right below right there if you do plan on making the move. But if you're not quite ready for the move and you just want to educate yourself on the area, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, notification bell. That way you're notified every single time we put out a brand new video. Until next time, we love you.